Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Danielle Mapes. I am the founder and director of coaching and education at the Real Estate Prescription. I am here today for our second part in our series on how to build a team. This is Cassie Purdy on the line with us. Cassie, how you doing?
Good. How's it going?
Fantastic. Christmas is just days away.
Yeah, it's
So
cold.
I feel pretty lucky to have you here with us today because number one, Christmas is coming. And number two, I'm going to move my mic closer. Hello. Number two, it's like Arctic freeze where you are and they canceled school. So you've got little ones, I'm sure, running around somewhere. So we'll be as quick as we can. Okay.
No worries. Yeah, I'm excited to do this. So thank
Good.
you.
Cassie, why don't you remind everybody really quick, where do you do business? And, why should people send you referrals?
I'm Cassie from Colorado, live just outside of Fort Collins, but also service Denver metro areas. So anybody, I'm born and raised in Colorado. I've lived here my whole life, so I know the whole state. So just anyone that you have for Colorado.
Awesome. Now, Cassie, I happen to know her. I've known her for a few months now, and I've been in and out of her business. She's a phenomenal agent, guys. She will take care of your clients like nobody's business, and she knows how to close a deal. So if you have friends and family in Colorado, now's your time to call them and see how they're doing so that you can find out what their real estate needs are and send them on over to Cassie. Right?
Yes, love it.
If they don't know how to talk to their friends and family and turn them into real estate deals into their pipeline, what should they do?
Coaching with Danielle for sure. Danielle will change your life with coaching in all areas, especially in business, of course, but in all areas too. So highly recommend. Definitely.
I really appreciate that. I fished for it, but I'm still going to take it.
Absolutely. Danielle's the best.
All right, guys. So if you want more information on the Real Estate Prescription, you can go to www.dealadaypipeline.com/R/C. That's the registration page for our webinar. The webinar is called 5 Simple Shifts Any Realtor Can Make for a Deal a Day Pipeline. And that is what we do. We teach folks how to master the art of conversation so that you can turn any conversation into a real estate transaction in your pipeline. You may take 5 conversations to get there, but you're going to get there. So you're going to hear a lot of reference today to conversations and how many conversations it takes for you to get a deal. Guys, it's just a conversion ratio. Whatever your activity is, know how many it takes for you to get a deal. For us, we're talking conversations. That's what we track. So we're going to break down how many conversations it takes for Cassie to get a deal. And then we're going to take that and figure out what kind of, how many activities in a certain strategy Cassie's going to need. So for example, Cassie is looking to build a small team. She needs to increase her production so that she can learn to live off of a 70% profit margin and then start building reserves so that she can have reserves for once she hires people and also get used to living on 70%. What that's going to do is it's going to force Cassie to amp up her lead generation, right? Because in order to maintain staff and things like that, you need to actually sell more real estate so that your income doesn't go down, right? The hardest part of that is with our first or second hire because we're getting used to bringing people in, training them, and also increasing our GCI. So it's a little bit of an uphill battle at first, but once you really get the team working together, you start to grow exponentially. And every hire should bring you more business. It should never be an expense. It's always an investment. So we're going to break down today how to change Cassie's goals based on her different strategies. Because Cassie, you don't really prefer to have to lead generate every day, right?
Right.
You're a busy mom. Yeah, you're a busy mom. You work every day already. So what Cassie came to me and said is, what would it look like if I did this less frequently, but with more people? Cassie, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your vision for lead generation in 2023? What would be ideal for you?
Ideal for me would be not having to work every day just because that's literally impossible. I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and there are, sick days at daycare, snow days, all the things, times that I have to be there for my kids and I can't lead generate for that day. And where I'm at now sort of is that I am lead generating every day. And the days that I can't because of my mom duties or life gets in the way, then I feel extremely guilty about that. And so what I love the idea, we talked about doing kind of business planning on this call. So I'm so excited to get into that. different models where I could kind of group that together. I did do like a pie delivery before Thanksgiving, and I had really great results from that. And so that kind of spurred this conversation of having a model where you could kind of group conversations and not have to stress about if you only work, 4 days out of the week. So I guess that, that would be ideal, would be to either, work less and for more bang for my buck when I am working, if that makes sense.
And as the kids get older, you might decide that instead of client events, you want to go back to the everyday, right? When they're predictably in school, they're not getting as sick as much. You might want to go for those 2 conversations a day or 3 conversations a day. But for right now, we want the ability to kind of really nail our goal, maybe once or twice a month, and then have residual conversations whenever we can. The way that we operate here, guys, is we're going to find out how many units. And if you missed it, go back to part 1. Part 1 is the CEO perspective. We go through all of the goal setting and the money, the budget models to figure out how many units Cassie actually needs to sell. Okay. And then we figured out her profit margin now and profit margin as a team. So she can start to live on the team profit margin model instead of spending whatever comes her way. Because right now it's only Cassie. So part 1 of this series is really, really critical to go ahead and watch back. Yes, I know it's a lot of math. You'll be okay. I promise. But part 2 of this series is today. So Cassie, in part 1, we decided how many units, do you remember? I want to say,
I think it was like 61.
That's what I remember as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, perfect. So 61 units will get Cassie from where she is now, which is a single agent with a transaction coordinator, to where she wants to be, which is single agent with transaction coordinator, personal assistant, and showing assistant. Okay. And if I remember correctly, it was 39 buyers and then 22 listings is what we decided. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I would love to see that a little more 50-50. It'll actually give you more money in the end because you won't be paying the showing assistant as much, but we'll take what we can get, right? Because we're in a market shift.
Right.
Okay. So Cassie, because you track every day, right? And because you are currently saying, okay, these are the activities I did, and these are the results that I got, we happen to know currently how many conversations it takes for you to get a deal a day in your pipeline, or a deal in your pipeline rather. So according to your tracker, how many conversations does it take for you to put a deal in your pipeline?
Gosh, sorry, hold on.
I'm going to pull up her real estate prescription tracker. And we have right on the dashboard, we've got number of conversations it takes for you to get one deal.
5. I'm averaging about 5 conversations.
Okay. So Cassie, it takes 5 intentional conversations, which guys, that really, it's a contact. That's what it is. It's a contact in most real estate language, but we have a little bit of a specific way that we do ours. Okay. Very natural, not salesy at all, and very much organic out and about in the community. So 5 conversations to get one deal. What percentage of the business that you're putting in your pipeline has a 0 to 12 month timeline? And that's, I believe, in the 3rd metric section, all the way to the right on your sheet.
Oh, okay, here we go. 0 to 12. It's at 90%.
Okay. So we need to shoot to bring that lower, right? Because right now we're hearing a lot of right now business, which means we're missing some long-term business because we know we can do better. So Cassie, can I challenge you to use 80%?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to shoot to bring that number down to 80%. What that means is if Cassie is having 10 conversations, she's putting 2 deals in her pipeline. Okay. And there's an 80% chance that those deals are going to close in the next 12 months because Cassie is tracking the consumer's stated timeline for that transaction. So 5 conversations, 1 deal, 10 conversations, 2 deals, right? 15 conversations, 3 deals. So by that math, when we put those deals in our pipeline, 80% of those are going to close this year. Cassie, what percentage of the people that you put in your pipeline do you think are actually going to transact business and transact business with you eventually?
Out of my pipeline, like just looking at my pipeline? Or
yeah. So what percent of people do you think will never transact real estate or just won't use you? Most of our students use 30%.
Okay, let's use that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I tried it. What I put in my pipeline for deals, I try to do like legitimate, like deals.
Really qualified ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can't control the market. So we know that some people will just decide not to move, right?
Yeah. If anything on my timelines, I'm being a little optimistic or whatever. So it's like, you know, you meet with the lead, talk to them, they say that they want to do it sooner. And then I'm going back and like reassessing and changing that. So if anything,
so people might be telling you 18 months and you're putting in 12, right? Because and this is because Cassie's an experienced agent. And she knows that the timeline is actually always quicker than the consumer thinks it will be. Right?
Usually,
okay.
Except for this year, I don't know. Everything went crazy this year, third quarter this year. So
this is why we're going to insulate our business and cast a wide net, though, and make sure we document any transaction timeline we come across. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We need to get 61 deals in our pipeline. So, okay. So Cassie, you're looking to sell 61 homes this year. Yes. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We know because you track your numbers, right? You track everything in your real estate prescription timeline. So you happen to know that right now, 90% of what you're finding has a 0 to 12 month timeline, meaning the consumer is telling you we're moving in the next 12 months, right? We also know that you're going to get better this year at hearing long-term business. So I want you to actually aim to get down to 80%. I want 20% of the people that you end up talking to be farther out timelines.
Okay.
Sorry, my phone, someone just called me and it went through on Zoom. Okay. So with that said, if we're using 80%, right? And you want to close 61 deals, it's actually 61 divided by 80%. We need to shoot for 77 deals. If you get 77 deals in your pipeline and 80% of them have a 0 to 12 month timeline, that's actually 61 closing now and 16 closing in the future.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to be even more conservative and we're going to assume that you're not going to actually capture, convert, and close 100%.
Right.
Okay. Most of our students use 30% for their fallout rate because we want to cast a wide net. We don't want to not put people in the pipeline just because they may not use us. We want to assume we have an at bat. We want to assume we can throw our hat in the ring and that we're going to win over business. So we're going to plan not to win 30%.
Okay.
Either they're going to move instead of in-state, they're moving out of state, or they get their real estate license, or their sister gets their real estate license, right? We're going to put everybody in there and just know that we're going to lose 30%. So we were at 61 deals closed. That's our target. In order to do that, we need 77 in the pipeline because only 80% will close in the next 12 months. We're going to further divide that by 70%, which is your win rate, right? These are the people that you're winning. So 77, let me grab my calculator, 77 deals divided by 0.7, which is your win rate. Oops. 77 divided by 0.7, 110 deals. Okay. So to break this down for everybody, what we did was we just did some reverse engineering. Okay. In order for Cassie to close 61 deals, which is what we decided in part 1 of this series, she had to hit unit-wise, closed units, 61. That will get her showing agent, her personal assistant. It'll get her TC. It's also going to give her $737,000 before taxes. That's her profit. Okay. So all those things plus she's going to have her 737. She's going to pay 237 to the government and she's going to net 500,000. In order to achieve all of that, she needs 61 deals. So Cassie, what you're going to do is put 110 deals in your pipeline this year, knowing that you're going to lose 30%. That brings us to 77. Okay. So we have 77 viable opportunities in our pipeline. Okay. Furthermore, that 77 is going to get cut because only 80% are going to close this year. 20% of those 77 are future business. Okay. That leaves us with 61 closed units. So that's the math, right? So to hit 61, we need to put 110 in our pipeline. You follow me? Okay. So we also know, Cassie, we know that it takes you 5 conversations to put a deal in your pipeline. So we're going to multiply 110 by 5. So you need to have 550 conversations to get 110 deals, to keep 77, and to close 61 this year.
Okay.
Okay. Are we clear on the business model and the goal
Yeah.
setting? And okay, cool. So the question Cassie came to me with was, if I have to have 550 conversations and I got 2 young kids and life happens and, we got snow days, we got sickness, how can I do this in a way that I actually insulate my business? And we talked about client events, right?
Mhm.
So Cassie, how many client events, if you were client event heavy, how many client events would you like to have every month or every quarter?
Yeah, I'd say like every quarter, realistically.
Okay. All right. So once a quarter?
Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah. Or maybe
Okay.
like a not maybe in person once a quarter and some other type of event monthly that wouldn't have to be like a party. You know what I mean?
Like a pop by or
Yeah. Something
okay.
like that. Yeah.
So if we're looking for 2 events a quarter, a pop by and an in-person, that gives you 6 weeks to plan each event and execute. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if we do that, that's a total of 8 events throughout the year. So
Yeah.
all you do, if you are only doing client events, all you do is divide your 550 conversations by 8.
Okay.
Each event is going to need to yield 69 conversations.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do on your paper is I want you to do client event. And then on the other side of the paper, so maybe 2 columns, one's client event and one's pop by. Okay.
Okay.
You have to spend 69 conversations in each of those columns. Okay. So I want you to think about the client event in a certain way. You're going to send out save the dates. Okay. You're
Mhm.
going to reconfirm with the people who you haven't heard from and thank the people who have RSVP'd.
Mhm.
Okay. So save the date, RSVP with a call to action, and then thanking the people who RSVP'd and checking in with the people who haven't.
Mhm.
Then you've got a reminder before the event. Then you've got the event itself. And then you have the follow up from the event.
Okay.
So how many different steps is that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 to 6. If
5 to
you,
6.
yeah.
Okay. We're also going to have vendor partners at our event. Okay. So let's call it 7 steps.
Okay.
Okay. All of those ones I gave you, and then vendor partners.
Okay.
So that's 7 steps. So if you take 69 conversations, let's just call it 70. Okay. And then you divide that by the number of steps we just outlaid. For each one of those steps, you need to have about 10 conversations.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the benefit. This would make your life a little more flexible in that you can't be flexible about the event itself. You may not be able to be flexible about the reminders the day or 2 before, but you certainly are flexible about when you send out the save the date. You certainly are flexible about when you send out the RSVP. You certainly are flexible about when you follow up with the yeses and the nos to make sure you have a good guest list. Okay. So if you had a client event every quarter, how many people do you anticipate you would actually be able to invite?
I have like 150 like VIP people that I would want to work with again, like past clients or friends or family, basically. So,
Okay. So if you did the event every quarter and you made it a point to have a meaningful conversation at some point during this client event process with each one of those 150, you'd be at 600 conversations. You will have hit your goal, right? So you could do the quarterly client events with a long pre and post event, save the date to follow up sequence. And you could have the metric in your head with a list of people that somewhere along the line, you want to have an intentional conversation with every one of those guests, whether it's at the save the date stage, the RSVP stage, at the event itself, follow up, right? You could even follow up with the people who didn't come by saying, hey, we really missed you. but I wanted to let you know what we've got coming up next because we'd love to see you next time. Right. So you could conceivably knock all this out with your quarterly client events,
Mm-hmm.
but you're going to really want to make sure that you plan something that has allure and draw and gives them a reason for wanting to come.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So, so let me ask you, Cassie, what would appeal to you more as a mom? Somebody saying, hey, we've got Santa Claus in our front lawn. We're doing cocoa. We're roasting s'mores. Sign up for a 20-minute window to come by and get your portrait taken with Santa, courtesy of us. We just want to say hi and make this easy for you so you don't have to go into the holiday, malls and wait in line with all these germs. So come on by, have a cup of cocoa, get your picture with Santa, and we've got a fun little treat for the kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, I'm throwing a holiday party, adults only, DJ, hors d'oeuvres. We want to see you, right?
Right.
Which one of those resonates with you more as a mom?
For sure. The first. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Because
kid
it's
friendly.
why?
Because it's so hard to get, figure all that out, plan, babysitter, all of that, I'm just the second one, I'm just going to tune out.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
at this
And
stage, for sure.
You're going to hit different people differently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if you can find a way to throw an event that's actually meaningful to your 150,
Mm-hmm.
you're way more likely for them to attend.
Mm.
So you need to ask yourself, what is a problem this time of year I can solve for them? How can I make it easy and how can I make it fun?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some people do really throw like nice little soiree client events at their house and people come, but you're not going to get everybody that way.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Now, let's just say you wanted to do the hybrid model of client events and pop buys.
Mm-hmm.
You could divide your roster a little bit by demographics, young couple, people with kids, elderly people. And you can start to actually diversify your events, right? Or if your events are places where you really want to bring in a certain type of client, do the other people for your pop buys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're taking pressure off of having to have 150 conversations a quarter around your event. You can reduce that to 120 and have 30 that quarter based on your pop buys, which is 10 a month, right? This is the hybrid model now. It doesn't matter how we get to 550. All that matters is that we get to 550 for the conversations.
Yeah.
So here's another example. The elderly people that you've got on your roster or anyone you have that has elderly parents. One example of a pop buy would be, it's virtual in nature, but it would be, hey, me and my vendor partner, me and my lender, me and my roofer, whoever, we've took it upon ourselves. We want to do a really fun spring cleaning for you and yours. We've hired window cleaners. There are 20 spots available this week. Here's where you go to sign up. Let's go ahead and get your house power washed. Let's go ahead and get your second story windows professionally cleaned. It's our gift to you. All that we ask is that if you happen to know someone who's looking to buy and sell this year, we want you to go ahead and call us immediately to let us know.
Yeah, I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. That one's great with the older people because they don't have the ability to go and do those things.
Right. No, I love that. Yeah, definitely. And I also just thinking as a mom, like pop buys are awesome. You could just be at home and get a gift or get something for your kids or whatever, like in my mind, that's way easier. Even if it was something of value, like a Santa with the kids or whatever, I might not be, it might just be a crazy week and it might not be possible. So, I like the hybrid options as well, because it just takes the pressure off of me and it also takes the pressure off my clients. And also I do have some clients that are in Denver, which are we're about an hour north of Denver. So they're a little further out. So, in person might not work for everyone in my database for sure.
Yeah. And I would say, you know, a lot of people, they think of pop buys and they think, oh, I'm going to grab this little gift and take it by their house. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be a service even,
Okay.
right?
Ooh, yeah.
Anything that's an experience that people would actually have a reason to want to go and do, right? Like
Right.
we'll never go and take a picture with Santa. But if I knew I could drive through town and grab one, I might. You know what I mean? Um, so but in terms of the service, you know, window washers, power washing, mulching, getting a company to come and deliver mulch,
Okay.
all of those things. And it's an opportunity as well. They can gift it, they can refer a friend. Do you know anyone in your neighborhood who's too old to shovel their sidewalks? Because you're a past client, you can gift your spot to them.
Oh, yeah, I love
Okay,
that.
for getting your you know, getting a season pass to the getting your sidewalks shoveled or whatever.
Yeah.
So these are all really great plans when you include your vendor partner network.
Mm-hmm.
So if you did something like that once a quarter, you have 4 vendor partners,
Mm-hmm.
sponsor them with you, right? And
Okay.
then you have to tie in your own promotion of that vendor partner to it as well.
Okay.
Okay. So the events, the pop buys, they all tie into your vendor partners. They all have some sort of before, during, and after opportunity for conversation. And remember, we're looking to get meaningful and have impact,
Mm-hmm.
right? Something emotional,
Mm-hmm.
something people get excited about. Okay. So Cassie, how many conversations a year do you need to have?
550, right?
Yeah, buddy. All right.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to do. We talked about an all event model. We talked about your 150 client list, 4 client events a year. You touch each person on that 150 list, you're at 600 conversations. We
Okay.
talked about hybrid, meaning 10 people a month, which is 30 people that you do pop buys with and have that conversation, right? And then 120 for the quarterly event. So
Mm-hmm.
altogether 150. Again, you're at 600, which is a lot of wiggle room. That's a good margin for error, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about daily so people know what that look like. If you decide that you do want to go to daily, how many weeks a year do you want to work?
Probably 50.
Okay, so 50 weeks. Oh, you just made it really easy for me. You made it easy for me, but I'm still going to use my calculator. So 550 divided by 50, that's 11 conversations a week.
Okay.
How many days per week would you like to make sure you get through those conversations? Meaning, how many days a week do you want guilt-free off?
Right. Like 2 to 3.
Okay. Let's get
It'd
you
be great to
3
work 4 days a week.
let's get you 3 days a week off of lead generation guilt-free. Now,
Okay.
if we do this, you have to promise me you're actually going to be guilt-free.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
tough. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to work 4 days to have those 11 conversations, which means you need to have 3 conversations a day, 4 days a week. Okay. What that means for you, my dear, because life pops up for you and you may not be able to plan for those 4 days. What it means is if you have nothing going on, go have your conversations.
Mm-hmm.
If the kids are sick, you just put your conversations on the calendar as an intention for the next day or the day after. As long as you have 4 days of work in a week,
Mm-hmm.
you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your job is to actually relax those 3 days a week because you know you have the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My recommendation to you, obviously, is that if you do 10 a month in pop buys, 120 a quarter in events, if you do something like that, obviously continue to have your conversations when you're out and about. You're probably going to smash through your goal if you do that, but no pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're just having conversations when they happen around us. Okay. Do you feel like you have enough information now to custom create a lead generation calendar for yourself for the year
Yeah.
with conversational goals, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So I guess, Cassie, my question to you, before we get into what it's like to do this with your own agents, like a few really key pieces of advice when you're building a team. What are kind of 3 ahas or action items that you're going to take from this today?
Well, number one, when you break it down like that, it's like easy, I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm like, I can't do 10 conversations a week. Like that's nothing. So when you break it down with the numbers, and that's what's been the biggest impact for me from the coaching program, is this tracker is literally life-changing. Danielle's life-changing, but the tracker is life-changing as well, because it just takes the pressure off of you to have it laid out in front of you. Like your business is laid out in front of you. And you don't have to stress every day about what you have going on, or don't have going on, because it's all in there. It's all going to happen. So you just have to be consistent, with plugging that in. And then also doing the follow-up, which I think is, important. So I do really like the idea of doing like something hybrid, doing some events, and then also just, of course, I'm going to have natural conversations in my day to day. And I've joined some networking groups and things like that. But if I were able to do at least 1 or 2 events a year, then that takes some of the pressure off of those networking as well too. It just, makes it less like I have to go out and get this conversation today. I have to get a deal in my pipeline. So it just takes some stress off of it. So I like that a lot.
Anything that reduces the stress. Now here's the thing. This is a double-edged sword. There's a saying out there, no pressure, no diamonds, which I get, right? You have to force yourself to plug all the holes if you want to transform. You can't have escape valves, because it actually lets the steam out and you have less urgency to transform. But when it comes to lead generation, if you are feeling stressed, you're going to either hate your lead generation, or people are going to feel your commission breath, one or the other, right? So on the one hand, it's really nice to know that if we do this, we're going to be fine, right? And it does take the pressure off. Here's where most people get into trouble. They start doing all the things, right? So if you know your business plan is 4 quarterly events, a pop-by a month, and occasional networking, you now have to say to yourself, am I betting on these strategies? Is this living my best life? Do I love what I'm doing? Am I energized by it? If the answer to those questions is yes, put blinders on, put earmuffs on, stop doing anything else. If the answer to those things is no, find a different strategy that does those things, right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. No, totally. And I do think that it's a process a little bit as far as what you really enjoy doing, because I have gone to some networking groups and I've left going in feeling like I don't want to do this today, like that I'm over this, and then left feeling really energized. And I'm like, that's the kind of things that I need to do and implement in my business, because that's gonna further you. And like you said, if you don't I'm never going to be that agent that pounds the phones for FSBOs and expireds. Like that's just not, that does not energize me. It freaks me out. I'm sure it freaks everyone out, but it's just, in dealing with for sale by owners is so stressful, and it's like spinning wheels and all of that. So it truly is like what you want to do in your business that fulfills your life too. It's like all of it needs to plug together. And I think we forget that as agents a lot. There's just so much stress all the time. So yeah.
And when you plan these events, I think the easiest way for you to truly love them is to get in the mindset of who your favorite clients are. Okay. So if your favorite clients are people with kids, make everything you do passionate about serving people with kids.
Okay.
Right? If your favorite clients are the women in the relationship, make everything about celebrating women. Right? Because then your social life and your lead generation calendars start to blend to the point where you can't even tell the difference. And that is what we're looking to do. I want Cassie Purdy to show up at her own client event because she freaking loves it. Right? If you don't freaking love it, people aren't going to love it either. You gotta love it.
Sure.
And if client events end up being like, oh, this is just so much to put on, then go more hybrid and more expectation on the pop buys that are every month, right? If you did a pop buy every month and you did nothing else, it takes 55 well, I don't know if that's true. Hold on, let me do the math.
Okay.
550 divided by 12, 45.8. It'll take 46 conversations a month for you to hit your goal.
Okay.
It's 11 conversations a week, or it's 45 conversations in a pop by, or it's 30 conversations in a pop by, 15 naturally.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how you slice it, as long as it adds up to 550 in a year, you're solid.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Really quick, I do want to wrap up with a little bit of information, guys, about doing goal setting with your team. Cassie is not bringing on any salespeople. That is not what she is doing. She is bringing on a showing agent and a transaction coordinator. All of these people are really determined by the business that Cassie generates. Okay. They don't set their own goals per se. Although the showing agent could potentially set some goals. And if there's a gap, they may want to work into a buyer agent role. If the money for a showing agent isn't going to fit their long-term needs, then you need to start thinking about growing them from showing to buyer and then replacing the showing agent. So now you have a buyer and a showing agent, buyer agent and a showing agent. But a few tips for all of y'all that are looking to, either you have salespeople or you're looking to add salespeople. Number one, every member of your team should be setting meaningful goals. Okay. If you don't know how to set meaningful goals, please check out Bulletproof Your Business Plan in 2023. It's a YouTube video that we put out last month for the Ann Arbor Area Board of Realtors, and it takes you through goal setting in a meaningful way. You should know what your agents want to accomplish and why. Why is the most important thing. If they can't tell you an emotional reason about what that's going to do for their life, then they need to go back to the drawing board and think about it. Right? And the way I like to word it to people is, what is the cost of you not hitting your goal? And if they go, they don't have a good reason and they're not going to do it. Right. So number one, every person on your team needs to set meaningful goals. Number two, what you do then is you add up the unit goal for every person on your team and you ask yourself, is that enough for the business? Okay. If your goal plus their goal is not enough to hit your business's goal, then you need to go add more people, because you don't push them past their goal. You help them hit their goal. And if they fly by it, good for them. Right. But we never say, we need you to sell 40 units. No, you don't. They want to sell 20. They're going to sell 20. You go and find someone to sell the other 20. Right. That's how you make sure everybody is hitting their goal and living their best life. And the business is as well. Okay. Third piece of advice is that there must be accountability, and accountability has to happen with consent. So guys, if you have a team, have a conversation with your agents about how critical it is for you to see them hit their goal, because you love them, you care about them, and you know what it will cost them if they don't hit their goal. And then ask, okay, what manner of holding you accountable on a regular basis, right, would work for you? How do you need me to tell you when I can see you getting in your own way? Right? But get consent, buy-in, and agreement about the accountability plan. And then by all means, please stick to it, because anyone who is in a leadership role, that is one of the hats that we wear, is we hold people accountable to their own dreams. Right? And that's now our job. Cassie, anything you want to add or remark on there?
No, I would just say accountability has to happen from the very beginning. That's one of the mistakes that I made, is I tried to retroactively go back and implement that, and it did not. That's why it didn't work out, So from the very start, set your expectations and set how they're going to be accountable, and have an agreement about that from the very beginning. So,
yeah. So, and I appreciate that completely. And if you have a team and you haven't held them accountable, but you know something needs to change in your business, because Cassie, you've been through it, right? Where you had a team and you were like, this is not a win-win for anybody, right? We're going to put this away and come back to it. So it's okay to start that process, but you have to tread lightly, right? So the way that you do that is you have the sit down, you say, hey, we're stepping it up this year. I want to make sure I'm the best leader for you. I want to make sure that my vision is big enough to hold your vision. And I truly want to understand what your goals are and why they're important to you. Is it okay if we have that conversation, right? Schedule it, get it on the books, and make sure everyone treats it with reverence. That is a private conversation between the leader and the agent. but you really do want to go deep and get emotional on it. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is that to you to hit your goal? It's a 10. Great. Why is it a 10? Right? What is it going to feel like when you hit that goal? Why does it matter? What is it going to cost you if you don't hit that goal? Right? We're pain and pleasure. And then, do I have permission to work with you to make sure you stay on track to hit this goal? And let's come together on a plan. Right? And frankly, if they don't want to be held accountable, thank them for their time and help them on their way.
Yeah, it's a hard job being
It
a
is.
leader. That is a hard job. But yeah, just another takeaway, like probably the biggest takeaway I got from this is making it meaningful, making whatever you do in your business of value to your clients, whether you're talking to them in a one-on-one conversation at a networking group or doing an event. So that was super helpful and meaningful to you too. Cause like you said, if you bring the energy, then they'll feel that and feel that it's genuine and authentic. Cause I think you kind of get in your own head about events and stuff like, is like, what's my true intent with this? Right. But if your true intent is that you truly enjoy like what you're doing and who you're around and hosting that particular event, or that it's adding value to people's lives, then I think you'll be a lot more successful with that strategy. So that was like an aha from that I took from today. So
yeah, I thank you for that. It is a massive, massive point that if we miss that, we're just going through the motions, right? I want to give you an example of a client event that I ended up loving, and we've done it over and over, and it's fantastic every time. We actually rent out a movie theater and we split it between the title company, the lender, and myself. And then we invite all of my kids' friends, everybody from school, everybody from athletics, everybody from the neighborhood. And we announce it well in advance. And we do this on Halloween, not Halloween, but around Halloween. And all the kids get dressed up in costumes. We've got a little photo backdrop. Everyone takes, we bring props. Everyone takes fun pictures. We send the pictures to them after the event. So we take nice pictures of their family. We actually make a movie trailer. The movie theater plays like we make a video. The movie theater plays it before. I get up and I do some jokes and we talk to the audience, and honestly, the kids love it. The parents love it. It's a free day at the movies. They get popcorn, they get whatever they, little treats they need. And that's just an example of like, I used to teach preschool. That is me in my element.
Yeah.
So find your element, right? And then frickin' love it. Like love it and celebrate it and zhuzh it up. Because you'll find the people who resonate towards it and you'll enjoy it all the way. So, all right, Cassie, thank you for your time. Please remind people, how can they get in touch with you? If they have friends and family in Colorado, they know people moving to Colorado, Cassie Purdy is your girl.
Yeah.
Cassie.
Purdy, Purdy, Cassie. You can find me on Facebook, Cassie Purdy Real Estate. Or you can find me on Instagram at Cassie Purdy RE. So yeah, find me online, send me a DM. I'd love to talk to you guys. So.
All right, Cassie, just because we are in a coaching relationship, what are you going to do to show me how serious you are about this 2023 business plan? When can you put something down on paper and when can you send it over?
Let's see. We're going into Christmas weekend, which is weird. It's weird. Christmas is on the weekend this year. I can probably get it in by like next Tuesday. Do you think?
That's totally fine. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to be crystal clear about the timing and spacing of the events. And then how many conversations is your goal for that particular thing? So events, pop buys, normal, just have your model in place, whether it's all events or hybrid. And then show me what your conversational goal is for each of those. And then we can go ahead and start. We're going to chunk it down and look at the first domino. So the first domino will be your first event, and we will start to practice hitting the goal, as each event comes. We'll hit the conversation goal.
Okay.
All right, ma'am. Cool. Okay, thank you guys. So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, they're going to be watching this after Christmas. Happy New
Year. For sure.
All right, you guys. Everyone take care. Thanks, Cassie.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.